Okay, so on the last video on mine E46, well, what was an E46 M3, we completely stripped apart the front end to do plenty of jobs, one of them including the bottom end bearings, the rod bearings. Now, as many of you may know, I've never done this before, and if I make any mistakes doing this, there's going to be some expensive issues I'm going to have to pay for. So I've already got cylinder 6 rod bearings out, and that is the wear. There is a fair bit of wear, and well, it's probably worth doing. In the last video, I said I had the wrong rod bolts, but it turns out I actually have the right ones. These are M10, and these are going to connect it all back together, hopefully. Now, the rod bolts have a very specific torque setting, and if I get that wrong, then it could cause them to be too loose, which would cause engine failure, or too tight, which could cause it to squash the crankshaft, and again, cause engine failure. So this has got to be spot on. Please let this work. Let's do it. So it's me versus the rod bolts. Now, ARP recommend them to be torqued up to 50 foot-pounds of torque, which is around 67 newton meters. Now, ideally, you're meant to use the stretch method and also have the crankshaft taken out and resized to make sure that is perfectly round. But I've seen a fair few people do this without doing that, so I'm just gonna hope and pray for the best. After I'd done cylinder 6, I could crank over the engine to make it easier for me to access the next lot of bottom end bearings and rod bolts. Remove them, which again look fairly worn. Then pop in the new upgraded bearings with some assembly grease and carry on 5 more times. And before you know it, I'd finished and it was time to reassemble the whole of the car. First thing in is the oil pump. Then we're going to remove the old lower engine mounts, as these are fairly common to fail. As you can see, these are fully perished, and we're going to be upgrading them to these Vibratechnics ones. So in go the new lower engine mounts, one on each side, and hopefully that will never have to be changed again. Now onto the sump. I put a new O-ring in where the dipstick goes, used a bit of gasket sealer, and then put on the new gasket. It was a bit fiddly on my own to put the sump actually back up onto the car, but sure enough, I got it up there. Then I just needed to bolt the rest of the components to the sump. And once that was all done, I could then mount in the brand new second-hand steering rack, which I got for 50 quid off eBay. And then we can remount the anti-roll bar. After the anti-roll bar was connected, I had to lift the whole subframe up and connect it using the 4 bolts. After using sheer Armstrong strength to push up the subframe and put the bolts in, I could then connect the inner tie rods on both sides to the brand new second-hand steering rack. And there she is, the bottom of the car is looking all complete and bolted together. Now we can lower it down and begin to start on the front end. We can now remove the engine brace because the engine is now supported with the new engine mounts. Then on with the viscous fan, I believe it's called. Next up is the radiator, which includes the power steering cooler, the aircon condenser, and an oil cooler as well. I have to connect up all the hoses and all the electrical connectors back up to the radiator before I could then put on the radiator fan and all of this bracing as well. And finally, on the bottom, on goes the oil cooler. I probably should have put that on first before the radiator fan, but hey, you live and learn. Then we can start topping up the fluids. First is the power steering fluid. Once that was in, I could put the airbox back in. Then the coolant goes in, and then 6.5 litres of 10W60 oil. Okay, so we are this close now to finding out whether we succeeded or terribly failed. If we have succeeded, then we've got 2 new engine mounts. We should have fixed all the oil leaks. We've got new rod bearings, and we've got a new power steering rack as well. So it is a pretty good success if we have succeeded. Now, if we've failed, it's going to be one of the biggest fails on this channel so far. Now you might be asking, was it worth it? Well, actually it was. Check out the old rod bearings. Okay, so here we have the old rod bearings. The bottom half, cylinder 1 to 6, and the top half, cylinder 1 to 6. Now, it actually was worth doing. If you can see the top half, cylinder number 4 is actually the worst here. Look, you see it's gone right down to the copper. It's gone through a fair few layers of that bearing there. So, well, I don't know how long left that would have had, but I presume not so much. So it's a good job we've actually done this. Now you could say that was a close shave. Just like the shave you'll get using Manscaped's new Lawnmower 4.0. Come on, it's not the 80s, it's time to get rid of that bush. And Manscaped's Lawnmower is the chap for the job. It's got skin-safe technology, an LED light, and it is completely waterproof. Not only that, if you buy the Performance Package 4.0, you're also going to grab Manscaped's Weed Whacker. With the same skin-safe technology, but this time it's used on your nose and ear hairs. Also in the Performance Package 4.0, you'll get some ball toner and some ball deodorant as well. So you can grab the Performance Package 4.0 for yourself or maybe for a partner by clicking the link in the description box below, and when you use code Armstrong20, that's going to give you 20% off plus 2 extra gifts for free. The Shed travel bag and the Manscaped anti-chafing boxers. Thanks Manscaped for sponsoring this video. It seems like it's time to start the M3. Okay, it's time to do this. I cannot even explain to you guys how nervous I am right now. My heart is literally pumping. I can feel it in my throat. Now we still are going to get a few warning lights on the dashboard because obviously we haven't got the full front end on, but everything that needs to be on to start the car is on. Oh my God. Here we go. What a milestone for this channel, and that's what it's all about, pushing ourselves out of the comfort zone. You guys have seen it multiple times with each and every car that's got worse and worse and worse, and somehow I've been able to repair them. I'm absolutely buzzing with that. Now, I guess we won't find out fully whether all the oil leaks, power steering leaks, and all the other leaks that I actually had have actually fully gone until we actually leave this thing running for a while or take it out for a drive. But as you can see, we've got a hell of a lot more to do, so let's crack on with this, and then I want to get this off the ramp today. So with the energy at the highest, I can finally put together the full front end of the E46. And now is an opportunity to do some of the fun stuff, like wire brushing the caliper and giving it a lick of black hammerite. And same goes for the passenger caliper. I feel like the brakes on this M3 are really small and could possibly do with a big brake upgrade in the future. But for now, these will do, and on goes the brake discs. The old ones were perfectly fine, so we're going to reuse them. We are this much closer to getting the E46 down and out of the unit. We've now got the brakes on and the calipers freshly painted, looking nice and fresh. But from leaving the M3 overnight, we've found an issue. Now this is power steering fluid. Now the good news, it's not coming out the rack this time, which is good. It's actually coming from up there, the power steering reservoir tank. I think it's got a crack in it and it seems to be trickling all the way down and causing a right mess. And you know what? They're not actually that expensive, only 25 quid, so I've gone and bought one. And actually a lot of the parts for the M3 I've been buying from Sytner BMW themselves because it actually isn't that expensive for the M3. And as a massive bonus, Sytner BMW are supporting me and all of you guys as well. They're giving me 15% off any genuine BMW part and all of you guys 15% off as well. I'll put a link in the description with a discount code, so go and get your BMW parts. Now before we put the fresh new wheels on, which you would have saw in a previous video, we've got to address these old headlights. Now these headlights on the front, the lenses are really, well, they're foggy, they're hazy, and you see it on a lot of old cars on the road nowadays. They just don't age well. Now you can actually restore these with a bit of T-cut, a bit of sandpaper and some sort of elbow grease at it. But what I've actually found is on eBay, I bought these for like literally about 20 quid and you can just replace the whole lens, and that should like update the whole front of the car and the look of these headlights as well. So we're going to split these off, put them on, then we can get the whole front end off and fit those new wheels. Come on.
I don't feel the pressure. I get to that check quick. Why niggas wanna test me? Wow, they cannot be less lit.
So I've got to dismantle the old headlight units, which wasn't actually too hard. Now on previous cars they've been sealed in with some sort of tiger seal, but on the E46 they were literally just clipped in, so it's simply a clip off and clip back on job. And what a difference that makes.
When I'm in it, yeah. it's out the from the bottom of the sinkhole. You can find me at the end of that pre-roll.
And once the headlights were fitted back onto the car, I could refit the front bumper, along with the new towing eye blank, which again is going to have to be painted. Now at the same time, the kidney grills look really dated and dull, so it was time to remove them and replace them with some new upgraded gloss black ones, and those just simply clip in. Again, the BMW badge looks pretty tired and weathered. That just pops out, and in goes the new one, which I got off eBay. And the front end is beginning to look a lot nicer. And how much better does the M3 look now with the new headlights, the new badge and the new grille? But naturally, we ran into some more issues. I still can't get over, look at these old lenses. That has just made the car look so much cleaner. Old lens, new lens. Look at that grille as well, ultimate gloss black. Now it's making the lower grille look like it needs changing as well, but the front end is looking nice. But as I mentioned, we did run into a few issues. Okay, the bonnet, it now doesn't close, and that's because of this. So the bonnet pins here lock into latches which go into here. Well, these were really rusty, and well, here they were, and they're not being released by the cable, which is absolutely knackered. But there's no other word for it. So I actually closed the bonnet and then couldn't get it open. Had to rip these off. Got the bonnet open, so we're going to need to replace them. We are missing a few other little bits of trims and panels. There's a trim that goes over this Xenon connector here that we're missing. We're missing a few clips in here as well. And also this connector right here is actually for a side light, and we don't even have the side light holder, so we can't even put one in, but I've ordered one of them, so well, that'll be sorted in the meantime. But other than that, I think we're kind of okay under the bonnet. It definitely does need a steam clean though. Now wheel-wise, we're starting to look fresh. We do need to put the arch lining in, but I'm not going to put that in just yet because the whole suspension and all in here needs to be cleaned. To clean that, we need to put the new wheels on, roll it outside, then we can get the jet wash out. So how about putting these fresh new wheels on? So with these new wheels, I've gone for sort of an OEM CSL look, even with the OEM tyre specs. I even think James May would approve of these ones.
Seriously, Matt, you, sir, are a knob.
But regardless of being called a knob, I was determined to get this M3 off the ramp and finally back outside. Come on, M3. You got this. Okay, now she is really starting to come together. Yes, the Laguna Blue matched with these CSL style wheels in silver looks so good. I think the rear, yes, we may need to lower that, but we're going to get onto the rear. That's for later. But at least now the front of the M3 is nearly there. It is nearly there, and the engine is sounding sweet. And on the plus side now, we now have no brake pad warning light, no engine lights at all. We only have the washer fluid, which is obviously just topped up, and the light for the side light on the front, but we'll get to the rear. The rear is out as well. But I can't tell you how much satisfaction and achievement I just feel now from actually stripping the bottom end of that car, putting it all back together, and then hearing it run so smooth afterwards. What an achievement. I'm absolutely buzzing about that. But all of this does not change the fact that we have a crack in the rear boot of the car where the subframe mounts to it. Again, another common problem on these E46 M3s, and well, the state of the interior, well, that's just another job in itself, and everything in between that we find. This is definitely not going to be a fast process, this car. But it's been emotional, and I've definitely learned so much already from this M3, and if you guys have been enjoying the videos and enjoying the M3 project itself, then you could grab yourself some of the MSPORT merch. We've restocked the hoodies with the MSPORT hoodies and the MSPORT t-shirts as well. But for now, this continues on into more videos. So again, thanks for watching this video. Hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button, and I guess I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.